And a big round of applause for Simple Energy.
Hi, I'm Yoav Lurie. We're Simple Energy. We're recent graduates of Techstars in Boulder, Colorado, the #1 startup accelerator in the country. Simple Energy is changing the way millions of people save energy by making it social, fun, and simple. You know, the cities we live in and the devices we love take lots of energy to run. And that energy needs to come from somewhere. Unfortunately, most of that energy still comes from the ground. Specifically, coal. Lots and lots of coal. And all of this carbon-based energy is having devastating consequences, human consequences, on the health of millions all over the world. Some people say that the answer is renewables. We should invest in wind and solar. But after decades and hundreds of billions of dollars of investments, they're all still too expensive. In fact, solar is still under 1% of all production in the United States. But with little changes that we can make in our homes, we can have massive impacts. Up to 20% we can save just by changing how we live our lives. In fact, energy efficiency is so compelling that the Secretary of Energy said that energy efficiency is not just the low-hanging fruit, it's the fruit laying on the ground. And in fact, there's a real business here, because utilities spend $11 billion a year to meet the requirements of their regulators to change how people use energy. But for all of this investment, utilities are able to engage fewer than 5% of their customers. Now, why is this? With all this investment, why are utilities unable to engage their customers? Well, first, they don't understand what it means to change human behavior. And even if they did, they don't have the technological platform to deploy such a solution. In fact, the most compelling and effective solutions in energy efficiency are giving out free light bulbs, and the industry's cutting-edge technology is sending out paper reports in the mail. All while their customers would rather be playing Farmville. That's where we come in. Simple Energy is changing how utilities engage their customers. We take our deep understanding of the energy industry, we couple that with leading-edge behavioral science and game mechanics, and overlay all the tools of the modern social web to deliver the most engaging and compelling way of saving energy ever. Here's how it works. We first start with live meter data we get directly through our utility partners. We take this data and mash it up with third-party data, like someone's size of home or the weather in their area, and we use that and then normalize it, lay over their social graph, and deliver it back to them in the places they spend most of their time. Here, the CEO of Techstars, David Cohen, logs into our application for the first time. He's syncing us with his utility data, giving us his live energy usage data. And then we take this other information, like his address, and that gives us his home size and the weather in his area, and we normalize it to create a golf handicap of energy efficiency. We give him social proof by showing him how the Techstars team is doing. And then we give him a leaderboard that shows him how all of the other people he knows are doing. So he can see that Brad Feld is kicking his butt. And now he's motivated to try to beat Brad. So we give him targeted, customized tips to do just that. And once David does, we verify that he actually did these things through his real energy data and give him real-world prizes, virtual rewards, and points. And from the moment David logs on from the first time, we're engaging him in the places he spends most of his time. Places like Facebook and on the web, on mobile, and honestly, in his inbox with targeted, customized alerts and tips. Because study after study has shown us that a social, engaging approach can be 5 times more effective than anything on the market today, including those paper reports that utilities are spending tens of millions of dollars on every year. That's why utilities are paying us today to deliver results that their regulators require and engage their customers in the best possible way. You know, even if we're only able to have a fraction of the impact that we know we can have and that we're already beginning to demonstrate, if we can have that fractional impact across the country, 5% say, A 5% impact would take over 100 coal-fired power plants off the grid. We're Simple Energy. We're changing the way millions of people save energy by making it social, fun, and simple. And we're changing the way utilities engage their customers. If we can do that, we can fundamentally change the world's largest industry. Thanks.
So are you energy efficient, Yossi?
I have a protective natural protection layer.
Utilities pay us to engage their customers. So it's counterintuitive, but because utilities are regulated by state entities, they have big incentives, or in most places, really big penalties, if they can't meet their energy efficiency goals. So there's actually this huge market. That's why utilities spend $11 billion a year.
I mean, this is absolutely the right question that you're addressing, because I mean, this is the problem. It's very, very clear that if you improve your energy efficiency in your home, you save a lot of money, but it seems like this kind of payback period that the public is willing to be motivated by is so short. I mean, if it doesn't pay back immediately, people aren't doing it. So I'm interested to see this use of gaming as a way to try and motivate people in a different way. But the question I have, I suppose, is how many people do you need signed up to really get critical mass to make this exciting and fun and really motivational? Can you, what are the network effects and so
Well,
forth?
we had the results with our very first user who was on there on the very first day. So even with one user.
Competing with himself?
With extrinsic rewards and prizes, winning an iPad or a MacBook Air or a daily gift card, that motivated them. But you're exactly right. For the average person in the United States, 4% of their spending is going to be spent on their utilities, on their energy bill. For people with the biggest houses, it's a lot lower. So if you change that by 10%, it's not enough to motivate people to make massive changes in their lifestyle. But it turns out we care a lot about what our friends think about us. And so where the traditional economics approach might say, let's give a couple bucks and someone might make a change, we say we're going to allow people to share their success with their friends, make it competitive, allow groups to collaborate and see their collective impact. So the church or school can say, here's how we're doing collectively. Run a campaign for it. Show how many SUVs they've taken off the road collectively in equivalence because everyone in their own home was able to do this.
So the utility companies pay you to engage their customers. So how do they get your product in front of their customers? Or how do you do that?
A great question about initial deployment. So a lot of times utilities have the email addresses of their customers, but once it starts to pick up, because it's all based in Facebook and on the social web, people are able to share it among each other. And we also leverage the existing schools and churches.
So once that happens and people start to share it with each other, what is the utilities company's incentive to pay you?
So utilities are incented to get a kilowatt hour result.
Right.
So they're actually trying to change the usage pattern and at that point, and they need to continue having a measurable and verifiable result through a regulated program.
So they just pay you to exist rather than to target their specific customers?
Well, to continue to generate results over years. I guess, are you suggesting that they would stop paying us at some point once it worked? Or?
Just that once the game is out there and people are going on it, I don't understand where the incentive is to continue.
Utilities pay us on a per customer basis to cover their customer area, their service territory. And they do that to meet their state regulations. So
that they can show that they're paying you.
To show that they're actively engaged in energy efficiency, the only way that they can claim their result is if it's related to a program. So if it were to stop, they wouldn't be able to meet the incentive, the regular.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yossi. Yeah, I would like to suggest two things, if I may. Number one, we know that in utility, as in data usage of cell phone, the pricing mechanism doesn't send the consumer the needed signals because nobody knows what will be the effect if he use a little bit less data or if he use a little bit more electricity. This seems to be a very efficient or can be a very efficient way to provide signaling to the user about his usage. So it closes the usage loop. It provides the necessary signals to the consumer. Another thing which I would like to suggest, I look on the data a few years ago, and like 30 years ago, about 25% of US energy consumption came from coal. 3 decades passed, and still the number is 25%. So the usage of coal as part of the total energy consumption didn't change. What did change is the amount of energy in a unit of GDP, which went down by like 50% according to these decades, mainly because of using energy in a more efficient way.
I'm going to fight, Adam, I'm going to fight for my question. I'm going to fight for it.
Fight for it.
If you're successful, tell me if this scenario works into your success. I'm voting for an elected official. I find out that he or she is not energy efficient. They've been shamed by your social badging and the social genius in this. Effective or not for simple energy, if that's part of the electoral process.
If you're successful, what will be your exit evaluation?
So two very different questions. Mine was yes or no. But tell me what. Mine's super mine's super mundane, but Yossi's is the right one.
I think that transparency among our elected officials is always a good thing, and people in elected office want to show things that they're proud of. And so those who are able to achieve, I'm sure, will run on it. And Yossi, very, very high.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much. And how's everyone doing in the audience? Yeah? Good? Round of applause for how